Hi there, legal language lovers. This is your legal translation quick tip brought to you by Translating Lawyers. Many legal translators are under the false impression that legal Latin is just Latin. So they assume that in legal translation, Latin need not be translated. But in actuality, they're really wrong. If you work with English, then you probably already know that common law, which is the legal tradition of most of the English-speaking world, stems from a system of law that evolved in the Middle Ages, when Latin, bolstered at the time by the influence and power of the Roman Catholic Church, was the lingua franca of Europe for all things fancy-schmancy and intellectual. Even today, you can find Roman precepts and formulations in almost every European language, in both common law and civil law countries. And even though many of them, like pacta sunt servanda and nolla pona sine leg, mean the same thing today that they did back then throughout most of the world, that's not always the case. In fact, that's rarely ever the case. Think of a Latinism like inaudita parte, or is it parte inaudita? Well, let's explore. In the English-speaking world, lawyers will typically say parte inaudita, and they'll use the phrase to mean ex parte, signaling that just one side of a dispute is being heard. Meanwhile, if you do your research, you'll find that in other languages like Spanish, the phrase is turned on its head and used in procedural law in association with provisional remedies, often, though not exclusively, in the pretrial phase. Now, does that mean we need to run like the wind every time we find Latinisms in legal translation? Of course not. All it means is that instead of just leaving them the way we found them in the source text and assuming that they mean the same thing across all languages and legal systems at all times, we need to do our homework and translate them into the target language to render a successful translation from a legal perspective. To learn more about legal translation from lawyer linguists, visit www.translatinglawyersacademy.com or just follow us. We're all over social media.